please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Well, hours to go before counting begins in what promises to be a cliffhanger of an election in Karnataka. And I say cliffhanger because that is precisely what the exit polls are predicting. So if you take them seriously, then a cliffhanger it is. 7 exit polls are pointing to a dead heat and a hung assembly. 6 exit polls are giving a clear edge to the BJP and 2 polls are giving the edge to the Congress. So we will know who will eat humble pie tomorrow, and with hours to go for the election verdict, the war of words between the Congress and the BJP heating up. Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and other senior Congress leaders have written a letter to the President calling the Prime Minister's language at an election rally as unthinkable, threatening and intimidating. The Prime Minister had said at a campaign rally, and I quote, "The Congress leaders, please listen carefully. If you cross your limits, remember this is Modi and you will pay," end of quote. So the political temperature heating up. Let's go now to battleground Bengaluru. Rukmini Rao there with the potential scenarios for the government formation in the state. Rukmini, you know, whether you talk to the BJP or you talk to the Congress or you talk to the JDS, it seems like everybody is going to be winning tomorrow's election. You know, take us through the various scenarios that are being spoken of. Who, if we see the Congress cross 100 or come below that, you know, what could potentially happen? What could happen if the BJP emerges as the single largest party but doesn't have simple majority? What happens then? What are the scenarios?
Well, Shireen, one thing that I can tell you that is I've spoken to a couple of dozens of candidates who have contested this election, and one thing's for sure, everybody is likely to have a sleepless night and nobody is really very confident. Now we were to see what kind of a scenario will likely emerge tomorrow by afternoon 1. Of course, if Congress emerges as a single largest party with absolute majority, Siddaramaiah will become the next chief minister, of course, and Congress will go on to retain its South Bastion. Scenario 2, if Congress emerges as the single largest party but fails to get an absolute majority, the magic number of 113, they're likely to look into anybody else as another CM candidate. Siddaramaiah will be out of question, but however, they will also be seeking external support, maybe a few JDS candidates and independents. Scenario 3, if, of course, BJP is able to get anywhere between 80 to 90, they will knock the doors off Deve Gowda and seek support from JDS and others, and Yediyurappa will become the chief minister. And in case, you know, we are looking at a complete hung assembly scenario where where BJP and also Congress are below 100, then of course Deve Gowda is going to be kingmaker. But you know, by about 130 or 2, very clear indications of what Karnataka will be looking like in the next assembly will be seen.
All right, Rukmini, perhaps even earlier than that. Thanks very much for joining us to give us a picture of what we can expect. Joining us now to discuss the battle for Karnataka, Amit Malviya, spokesperson of the BJP, Kavita Reddy of the Congress Party, also with us, Mohandas Pai, Alok Prasanna, advocate and political observer, and DP Satish from News 18. Gentlemen and Kavita, appreciate you joining us. Amit Malviya, let me start by asking you, Ghulam Nabi Azad has just commented saying that the way that the BJP is giving out exact number of seats that they hope to get in tomorrow's election is only an indication of the fact that you've got the EVMs in your control. Your reaction?
Well, it just means that the Congress has already conceded this election, and Ghulam Nabi Azad is not the only one to do it. Mr. Siddaramaiah also did that when he said he's willing to make way for another chief ministerial candidate. The fact is, Shireen, that the Congress party knows that the 5 years of misgovernance that they have unleashed on the state of Karnataka is going to take a toll on them tomorrow, and that's why they're just looking for excuses. Does any party that is confident of its showing in an election and its connect with the people make flimsy excuses like this? The Congress comes up with the EVM bogey every time it knows that it's going to lose an election. I don't see them raking it once in a while when they win a bypoll here and there. But every time they lose a big state, which is too often these days, they come up with all kinds of excuses.
can you give me a confirmation? We are given to understand that your chief ministerial candidate has booked a stadium on the 17th. Can you tell us if that is in fact the Kantivira Stadium has been booked by Mr. Yediyurappa for the 17th? Can you confirm that information that we're picking up?
Well, that is speculation. There is no such move on the part of the party. We are going to wait for the results tomorrow. The parliamentary board will meet and decide on the future course of action. But I can tell you, Shireen, that we remain absolutely confident and we think we'll get more than 130 seats tomorrow. So let's wait for the morning, and we are maybe perhaps 10 hours or 12 hours away. So we are all excited and looking forward to it.
Okay, so 130. Amit Malviya giving us a number, 130 seats is what he claims the BJP will get tomorrow. Let me go across to Kavita Reddy. Kavita, you heard what Amit had to say. You know, there seems to now be this speculation on if you don't get majority, will you look at tying up with the JDS? Is that an option? If that scenario were to play out, is that an option? Would it then mean that Mr. Siddaramaiah is no longer going to be the chief ministerial face and the chief ministerial candidate for the Congress?
At this point in time, that is just wishful thinking. We will get an absolute majority in Karnataka. We will form the next government under the leadership of Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. I think that is very clear. And tomorrow, by about 5 or 6 o'clock, the Chief Minister will go stake claim for the government. That is very clear from our end, and that's what is going to happen. So rest of it remains as a speculation. And coming to what Mr. Malviya was telling, you know, their local leadership has been literally decimated in these elections. Neither Mr. Yediyurappa, nor Ishwarappa, nor Ashok, nor Sadanand Gowda, none of them were even seen campaigning across Karnataka, other than the first few rallies which they led in the initial stages of the election, when the election was not even announced. Other than that, they've not even reached out to any place. They were completely dependent on the Delhi, the Delhi team, which is Modi and Mr. Shah. And Modi came all through trying his level best.
The campaign is over. The campaign is over. Whether the BJP strategy, strategy worked or didn't work, that will be decided tomorrow.
No.
But I'm asking you a very specific. It's a hypothetical question, but it's a specific question.
The local leadership is
It is a hypothetical question, but it's a specific question. I would request an answer. If you don't get to the majority number, would you then consider reaching out to Mr. Deve Gowda? Today there were reports suggesting that your party leader, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, is likely to hold talks with him. Is that likely if you don't get the majority number?
Not at all at this point in time. We are very clear that we will get a majority, and tomorrow by 2 o'clock that will be very, very clear.
I'm asking you if you don't. I'm saying that yes, it is hypothetical, but what if you don't?
We will cross the bridge. We will cross the bridge. We will cross the bridge when it comes. As of now, we are very clear that we will get
Amit Malviya, will you cross that bridge as well? I mean, you're saying 130, but if you don't get 130 and you don't get majority, are you also going to cross the bridge when you get to it?
Shireen, very quickly, first of all, I want to respond to what the Congress spokesperson said. She repeatedly spoke about the Delhi leadership. The other way to look at it, this whole Delhi leadership bogey that the Congress is trying to build up, is that the Congress has a weak central leadership, and there's no denying the fact. Point number 2, our priority, like any responsible political party, is to see that we provide a stable government to the state of Karnataka. While we remain confident, we're keeping all options open, and we see what can be done best so that Karnataka does not get left behind in the progress and development that the country is seeing. And definitely we'd like to see the back of the Congress.
Okay, Alok, let me come to you now. While both sides, the BJP and the Congress, claim that they're extremely confident of being able to get to majority, if you look at or read between the lines, both suggesting that options are open, they're willing to talk, and they will cross that bridge when they come to it. But let me ask you, Alok, and I've been reading, what you've been putting down in terms of your assessment of the elections. I'm not going to ask you whether it's the Congress or the BJP. Let's first talk about what you believe will be the determining factors at play here. And again, it's this simplistic sort of narrative that's built in television studios that Karnataka will decide 2019 and so on and so forth, which I believe to a large extent is naive. But what will this election truly mean, and what will the determining factors be to your mind?
In my mind, this election will truly be decided in the manner in which the big chunk of voters who are now classified under the category of Ahinda voters, minorities, Dalits and backward classes, how they vote. If a majority of them back one party, my view is that the category of Ahinda voters, minorities, Dalits and backward classes, how they vote. If a majority of them back one party, my view is that party will have the majority irrespective of how the other dominant castes in Karnataka, the Lingayats and the Vokkaligas vote. I think this is a very interesting development. We are looking at it from a party point of view, BJP or JDS, BJP, JDS or Congress. But I think this is portending a new kind of shift in Indian politics where hitherto dominant castes are suddenly finding that their hold on political power is slipping away. I personally feel that we may find that that is going to be true in this particular elections in Karnataka.
Okay, you're talking about the caste math, and I don't know if our colleague Archana Shukla is ready, because we've got that graphic ready for the benefit of our viewers to also explain what Alok was talking about. I'll get to that in just a second. Let me go across to Mohandas Pai. Mohandas Pai, from a perspective of corporate India, does it matter whether it's the BJP or the Congress? I mean, a plain reading of their manifestos suggests that they're pretty much trying to offer you exactly the same thing.
Well, I think from corporate India's perspective, what we want is a stable government run by one of these big parties, because we have seen that between the two parties, there's not much to choose as far as corporate India is concerned. But when you have a coalition, there's instability, there's no focus on development or infrastructure. For the first 3 years, the 5 years Siddaramaiah government, it was not good for the corporate sector because Siddaramaiah focused on the rural sector, was giving away big subsidies. Last 2 years, he had a industry minister after 2.5 years who has done very good work. He focused on developing infrastructure for Bangalore, and now Bangalore is very clearly on the map for a large amount of investment in infrastructure. So I think the corporate sector was very pleased. We would like the new government to take on the unfinished agenda of improving the corporate sector, making the quality of life better for the citizens of Bangalore, which both political parties have promised. So I think we look forward to a stable government, but the chance of a stable government are quite dim looking at all the surveys, because it's quite obvious that if any one party gets a majority to rule, it will be a surprise, and a pleasant surprise for everybody. It looks like there has to be a deal with the JDS. And if there's a deal with the JDS, then I think it's going to be complicated because the focus may not be on good governance. The focus will be on making money. Because you are forgetting one important thing, Shireen. For both the BJP and the Congress, the Karnataka elections are extremely important for 2019. For the Congress, Karnataka is the cash cow. Lots of money has been taken from Karnataka for funding the Congress, and for 2019 election, for their funding, Karnataka will be the only state, because Punjab's economy can't support so much of siphoning of money. And the BJP were to win at all costs and deprive the Congress of Karnataka, then the Congress will be mortally wounded, because going into the election they'll have only Punjab to get money from, and the 2019 elections are going to cost anywhere between 7,000 to 10,000 crores. And each political party will have to spend 2,500 to 3,000 crores. And for the Congress, the main amount of money will be Karnataka. And in the last 1 year, a lot of money has happened. So I think you must look at the money aspect. But as far as corporate India is concerned, we want a stability. Any of the governments are okay because they have similar policies. But a coalition government will be very dicey for all of us.
Okay, stable government is what corporate India wants. But let me go across to DP Satish. And DP, I want to pick up on the points that Alok was making on how the caste math could actually decide the outcome of this particular election. There's a lot of talk about whether we are likely to see a potential Dalit and minority consolidation. If that happens, is that likely to benefit the Congress? There's a lot of conversation around the high voter turnout, a record turnout. Who is that likely to benefit? What is your own assessment, DP?
Shireen, I agree with Alok because it was a waveless election. There was no wave at all. I have travelled extensively throughout Karnataka and I have covered every election since 1998. I have never seen an election like this. It was a waveless election. There was no wave. There was an undercurrent. Because of that, only the caste and candidates decide the outcome in more than 50% of the seats. The remaining 50% of the seats, caste candidates plus parties decide that. Secondly, Karnataka has 35% upper caste votes and 65% Ahinda votes. They are minorities, they are OBCs, they are SCs and STs. And if this Ahinda, even 2/3 of the Ahinda population, that is minorities, SC, STs and OBCs, vote for one particular party, Congress or BJP, that party will come to power because Ahinda vote is Congress vote and
but
Congress claims it
which
is their
side do you
vote.
believe they're likely to
Congress
vote for?
manages to
Which side do you... Sure. Which side do you believe that they're likely to vote for on the basis of your travels, on the basis of your own assessment, basis the ground reports?
See, minorities are most likely they will vote for the Congress. You know the reasons. Secondly, among the OBCs, Kurubas are the largest. We have 23% OBC population, other backward classes, and Kurubas population is 7%. So Siddaramaiah is from Kuruba community, that is shuffled by caste. So they will most likely vote for the Congress. Plus we have SC and ST votes, SCs and STs together we have 24.5% vote. Even if half of them vote for Congress, traditionally at least 50% of them vote for the Congress. In that case, Congress should get more than 32% of the votes, and Congress will anyway get at least 10% of the upper caste votes because Congress has fielded 98 upper caste candidates. So Siddaramaiah is extremely hopeful that Congress will cross 100 mark. He is hoping that Ahinda will back his party, but BJP says that they have already made a dent, and lot of Ahinda people, they will also vote for the BJP. This is BJP's claim.
Okay, that's BJP's claim. Alok, would you concur with the caste math and the caste arithmetic that DP just explained to us, and how that could potentially be, you know, the wind beneath the wings, so to speak, as far as the Congress party is concerned?
I quite agree. The other thing about the caste arithmetic is there is some uncertainty. Now, we have seen quote-unquote leaked figures of the caste census carried out by the Karnataka state government. It is possible that Mr. Satish gave a figure of 65-35. It's possible it's more 75-25, right? So in that case, it only strengthens his argument further. Okay. As far as the individual breakup is concerned, yes, we have to keep in mind one further thing. In Karnataka, scheduled castes or Dalits are broadly divided into two large categories of so-called right hand and so-called left hand. Now, it is generally presumed that the so-called right hand Dalits are the ones slightly better off because they were farmers and tillers, whereas the so-called left-hand Dalits were slightly worse off in terms of being the lower down in the caste hierarchy, so as they say. So far, we have seen that the right-hand Dalits vote for the Congress generally, but there has been a move by the BJP to court the so-called left-hand Dalits. So it is possible, but we don't know. We don't know what will be the extent. It's possible they may take away a small chunk of it, but maybe the community as a large don't, or they take away the community as large. That is the one uncertainty. But as I said, it will not matter if the Vokkaligas go fully for the JDS or the Lingayats go fully for the BJP. It might matter more as to whether the BJP is able to sort of break this particular alliance a little bit, or whether the Congress has maintained its hold over this particular group of castes.
Okay, that's interesting arithmetic for us to work with. Yes, sir.
Shireen?
Yes, Mr. Pai.
Shireen, look, the voting percentage has been an all-time high of 72.5, 73%. So I think in 2013, the voting percentage was 71%. Now this extra 2-3%, we're going to find out who are the people if you voted. If they're going to be the younger people who are coming and voted, the new generation, then I think certainly the Modi factor will have a big sway, because the younger generation is all for Prime Minister Modi. And, you know, the crowds which heard Modi were very, very large. I got data from the coast because I know many people there, and they're all saying that they've not seen that kind of the crowds in the coastal areas. Even in central Karnataka and western Karnataka, the Belgaum, the Bombay, the Hyderabad, Karnataka area, the crowds have been extremely large for Modi. And if the voting has come from younger people, then, you know, there is a 6 to 7% maybe a shift in the voting pattern compared to 15-16 days ago. So it is totally open today for anybody. So, you know, everybody has to wait and see.
Okay. We have a few more hours to wait and see. But Kavita, on the point that Mohandas Pai made, on that turnout number at 72.13%, 71.45% was the number for 2013. And if it is a younger voter, as Mr. Pai suggests, then perhaps it could be, his claim is a shift towards the BJP in favor of Mr. Modi. How do you respond to that?
No, it is Mr. Pai's claim, but in fact, if you go by constituency breakup, which we have received on the voting percentage, a large part of the voting percentage is more focused on the old Mysore region and parts of the central one, Haveri, and those kind of areas. So the voting percentage is highest in where we are actually stronger. Congress is much more stronger. So that is one point. I agree with DP that this is a no-wave election. I think everybody are aware of it, and it is a fact which I think DP has been talking about it. It's very true. But what is very important here is it is an election which is very Karnataka focused. What BJP tried to do is trying to influence, saying that it cannot be Karnataka focused because they didn't have anything to talk about on Karnataka and the kind of governance they had given in the 5 years term when they got in. So they tried their level best to bring in the Modi factor here. I don't think so that's worked here, purely because it was not a wave which was created on behalf of Modi or for Modi. So it was very localized, and it was based on what has been the work which is done in Karnataka.
Will the Modi factor work or not is the big question. We'll take a break, but when we return, we will take this conversation forward. I'll come back to you, Kavita, in just a minute. We need to take a quick commercial break, but when we return, we'll talk about what it means. We've got the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and other Congress leaders writing a letter to the President saying that the kind of language, the statements being used by the Prime Minister are unbecoming of a man of his stature. We'll discuss that, and also the threat that the BJP made during the course of the campaign, that if you don't vote for the BJP at the state, then will it have repercussions for the government in Karnataka?